My name is Rhapsody, welcome back to Darkest Dungeon. The last run was a promising start, if also doomed, ultimately at the hands of the Librarian. So in this run, we're going to be drafting a single trinket and a single in item with the Candles of Hope that we'd got, and trying to figure out what we might want to do with that.
In a sea of madness.
Galvanizing Goblet, +1 to Blight dealt. Interesting. And also an in item.
Every twinkling recollection is another implement at our disposal.
Okay. A chance for a third chance, either. Right? A third chance for each? Chance of one of the each? Or I guess it's possible this could give you nothing or all three, which kind of justifies the design of it there.
In search of what hope yet remains.
Alright. Let's see what kind of a run we can put together here. So we know that we have some stress resist at high stress, and we also know that we have the ability to amplify our...
You must face your failures, or be consumed by them.
Or we can amplify our blight damage. Or both, admittedly.
You attempted to map the geometric proportions of the crown to frequencies of sound. And in the resulting silence, our ears welled with blood.
The Iron Crown will do that to you.
Crossroads. Who will step forward into the light?
Alright. I may even spend a lot of my time deciding who I should take based on their quirks. I mean, you know, the Flagellant makes a bunch of sense, is darkly curious, has a Swine Slayer, but of course the main reason being that they are the Blight class. I do kind of like the idea of a backline Vestal as well, that specializes in consecrations. Oh, so Mantra will give a huge heal to each target that has a consecration token, but it will also remove their consecration tokens. Interesting. Cooldown 5 turns on Consecration of Light as well. This is of course the builds where we would be able to make the best use of Judgment, as we would be standing in the back line and we would be generating divine power by using the consecrations. I do like the idea of taking the Vestal out, but the Vestal also has all of her skills now, so it definitely feels like if I'm designing generally around someone, surely it would be around an Occultist. Someone who I am attempting to get all of the skills for here, and who also I am very much hoping to utilize the vulnerability hex of against the final boss. Weakling Curse as well, mind. Sluice Scrounger and Occultomaniac. Oh, the Occultist is an Occultomaniac? Color me surprised. Aspirant. Amnesis is still not yet unlocked. But... plus 25% damage to your melee skills, plus 25% max HP, and at combat start, gain a block plus token. It just doesn't seem good enough. It really still feels like I want to run you as a Ritualist and put you in line 3, still giving you access, admittedly, to Sacrificial Stab. And then taking away Abyssal Artillery in order to give you Vulnerability Hex. I'm not over the moon about it. Heck, I don't even like it. Anyway, that's what we're going to be doing.
To know the abyss, one must embrace it.
You know, I have underutilized the Leper so far. The Leper would also be very, very good in the final fight for chunking through blocks and using Intimidate to guide the enemy's attacks. So chunking through blocks would be performed by Break. Okay. Okay, I can see some version of this. There is a lot of movement in general in that fight as well. I believe you can get battered by the Ravenous Reach to the back line, and were that to happen to the Leper, we would be pretty sad about the situation indeed. So, how do I prevent that? I can give myself 50% extra move resist, but I have to take away my damage in a way that is overwhelming. Like, I would need to feel like my other classes are, you know, primarily damage classes who are also doing something else in order to justify taking the Poet path, I believe. I don't have any special interest in the Monarch path. Negative 30% max HP, negative 75% to your main damage skill in Chop. Using Purge and Intimidate, give a vulnerability to the target, but at combat start versus Cosmic, you get all of these buffs. Yeah, not really my kind of thing, I don't think. Jester. Jester does a lot of damage. Jester also certainly has something else that they can do. We can do a little bit of body rectification in terms of positioning. We can also do some stress management. It's just the Leper and the Occultist right now that have remaining unlocks that they require. I guess I could only take the Occultist out on this one and hit 3 hero shrines and then take the Leper out on a future mission. It's also an available option for us. Well, thinking about it in general, what do I desperately need additional access to at this point in time, right? I need to be able to remove combo from targets. I need to be able to guard, especially, is quite good. I'm considering the fact that there's an Exemplar we're going to have to deal with over the course of this run. I also want to be able to remove... remove stacks of positive tokens on the enemy. That's a large amount of what the Occultist is going to be capable of doing for us. And I want to maximize my Blight damage as well. I gotta remember that. Blight is very available here for us. I don't love the idea of just running the Plague Doctor in the back line. Like, could I? Yeah. The main reason I don't feel like I am comfortable running the Leper is because if I have to tend so much of my Leper towards trying to manage their ability to be pushed in the final fight, I feel like I'm going to heavily remove my ability to actually utilize them as a damage class. Like, if I have to take the Poet line and I have to use, like, you know, Withstand in that fight at the appropriate times and things like that, just feel like that's going to become a bit of a nightmare. I could use either the Man-at-Arms or the Vestal. Man-at-Arms, ooh, combat start, you get double dodge. Double dodge plus as well. Interesting. Obviously, the Sergeant rank would give you access to no moves. Also on Bolster, you'd have the ability to remove some negative tokens from our own team. It's largely just the fact that he would be able to stand there, not be pushed at all. This would also give us a lot of utility in taking out the Leviathan at our own comfort. Command does remove blindness. Interesting. Yeah, I think I do want to take the Man-at-Arms here. Use Pustule Salve 2 times. It's very easy to do.
Pride. More devastating than the horrors of 100 campaigns.
Iron Constitution on a Hellion. Oh, baby. Okay. Maybe this is our appropriate opportunity to be taking a Hellion in the second line. So a Hellion in the second line does not need Iron Swan, and instead is looking to bleed targets consistently with Berserker. Let it bleed Akliora. Negative 20% to the max HP, plus 10% to death blow resistance, plus 33% to resistance piercing for bleed, and 10% extra crit on these bleed chart skills. So bleed out, definitely get tagged. I don't see myself often wanting to use toe-to-toe here. What about breakthrough? Removes guard. Upgrades to removes guard and cannot gain block. Guard is just not important enough, I feel, to justify that. So toe-to-toe is forward 1, which means I can use Howling End and toe-to-toe still as a damage strategy while using otherwise bleed abilities and bleed out and if it bleeds. Toe-to-toe has the ability to push me forward if I really want to use bleed out as my final way of trying to bleed through the enemies. I don't know, maybe the Berserker path's just not powerful at all. Plus 20% max HP really helps in removing the negativity of the downside, obviously. Is there a second line build for the Man-at-Arms that I care about? Not especially, actually, I think. Yeah, not especially. Final fight, if I recall correctly, against Ravenous Reach, not really DOT based.
Beneath bloodlust and fury, there is emptiness and shame.
I'd really like to also tag Adrenaline Rush here, and I feel like maybe I don't need Bleed Out. I feel like if I'm using Bleed Out, it's near the end of the fight. And if I'm near the end of the fight, I may as well be using Howling End instead. Most of the time. Okay, so I have the ability to quite easily damage targets right up until the 3rd line, but the 4th line target's very difficult for us right now. We'd be able to try and pull it out of position, but if we can't pull it out of position, that's about it. That's all we can do. So the final choice should certainly be a Blight character who can reach all of the lines. Alright, Grave Robber, what do you got? Ooh, you're on Interesting. You are... Guard? +1 to speed and combat start we get 2 dodge, and because of off guard we're also dazed, and at round start a 15% chance to become vulnerable. However, let's have a look at the Venom drop. +2 blight dealt when the self is stealthed. So the world in which we get to use lunge. Oh, is there like a pirouette opening here, maybe? Because pirouette's a ranged ability. Moves us back. Doesn't stealth us, so it doesn't help. Interesting. Maybe not then. So Audrey would be able to use Shadow Fade on turn 1 and then throw flashing daggers after that to try and overwhelm Blight on a midline target. Ignores dodge when the self is stealthed. I'd be able to throw thrown daggers to the enemy backline with relative ease as well. Lunge is a nice finisher for the same build. So I have like extremely weak stress management and healing. I've got good damage. I've got pretty good reach. I've got reasonable token removal for enemies. I'm not going to say I love this build. I'm far from saying I love this build. Clutch hitter versus Tippler. I would really prefer if you could drink. I mean, I guess we get less stress as well because we get some stress resist from the Trinket that we mentioned previously. So flashing daggers for 5 blight to both of the enemy midlines. Oh, actually, hang on. It's not 5, is it? It's 7 if we use the Shadow Fade first. The only problem is we are dazed at the start of the round, so like... I guess we can use If It Bleeds still from that position. Which makes it a lot more versatile. Okay, I'm gonna try that.
Avarice slips unseen into the catacombs of the mind.
So Venom Drop is rank flexible and sacrifices range damage for blight and mobility. We're going to be doing some bleed damage as well from the Hellion. We're going to be doing some rituals and token removal, some healing if desperately needed from the Occultist. And then finally our Man-at-Arms are going to be standing up the front and guarding everyone appropriately. I believe these are the right abilities for me to have tagged also. Hold the Line's really good for getting back into position, but I'm gonna need a de-stress ability as well, so Bolster seems the most sense. Bolster, Defender, I'll even drop Rampart and Crush, maybe? Taking Bellow, Stand Fast. I'm gonna tag Rampart back on, just so that I can try and push people out of position. Is this our party? Is this our beautiful life? Is this our wonderful home? I think so. All right, Barristan. You are now something more along the line. Wait, hang on. I've got to make sure that the previous party that wiped very quickly. Yeah, I think this is correctly updated. At least I hope so. Wait, no, because Coldheart was in that party, right? And Dylo and Disnamir. I think. I'll go check afterwards, but for the moment, our Man-at-Arms is Eloise. Our Grave Robber is Jazzy. Our Hellion is John. And our Occultist is Moms. I'm looking to learn a lot more about you, Occultist, over the course of this run, if you will reveal that unto us. For the moment, though, set in. Sad. Alright. Item screen
you came
up.
here seeking solace, but found stagnation instead.
And we'll give the +1 blight dealt to the party member that deal the blight. Is there Iron Swan 2 times in single fight? I'm probably not going to be able to land that relatively early on, unfortunately.
Comforts are exhausted. Ahead, only trial and tribulation.
Moms needs to land the killing blow on some gaunts.
Even your valley is not immune to the spreading stain.
Alright. I'm gonna try and make everyone pretty much unhappy about their positioning. Never mind. Ooh, I didn't know I could get relationship buffs in this fight. I thought that was intentionally not allowed. Interesting. And Bellow and all these enemies, slow them down a bit.
You may outwit them yet.
Figure out if this one bleeds. Yep, it does. Beauty. Let's figure out if the next one does. Oh, similarly, absolutely filled to the brim with blood. One target dead.
A brilliant conclusion.
Oh, that crit gets a second target down. Unfortunately, those are both the targets I was going to be aiming at with my flashing daggers here. Alas. Guess I'm just going to blight up the heck out of the back liner here. Yeah, so that's 5 for 5 turns with an unupgraded blight ability though.
A promising development.
Get a death blow on a gaunt there, as well as take out all of the corpses. Time for lunch. Toe-to-toe for a little bit of movement. And that'll be all that was written. I mean, we got a positive relationship charge out of it. How mad can I be? Relics and baubles, 2 mastery as well. I know where one of those mastery points goes.
Rest and resupply await you.
I believe one of them goes onto the flashing daggers for us. Where the next one goes, though, not entirely certain.
The roaring heart does much for the weary body. Even more, perhaps, for the restless soul.
Oh, the Greater Heartseeker is available from the Fog. Sorry, from the Fog of War mission in the Sprawl, that is. Avoid the Watchtower. But there's extra field hospitals and extra location scouting for field hospitals there as well. There's also the Shroud, which I did mention already, specifically having a little bit of an easier time with, courtesy of the Leviathan not being able to move our frontliner.
Your coach must be maintained if it is to carry you where you must go.
Oh, pot and still. Chance to produce whiskey. I do quite like that. Do we have a food-related? No. The Sparing Flare, of course. The Unnatural Owlet for the resistance piercing per Tinker's gear item equipped. And increased chance of producing items from Stagecoach items. So I could take the Tinker's Bench, as well as that Owlet. Start producing contraption items, increasing their contraption stacking. Also then just being able to, in the final fight, pretty much guarantee all of our debuffs hit. Raven's Reach for 20% extra damage on ranged skills. Not especially interested in that.
One learns quickly when survival demands it.
I'm thinking that getting the plus 10% crit by just base seems a really big benefit to be able to give to, like, our Hellion especially. Sacrificial Stab being able to give us power on kill is nice, but we can't also, like, discharge that power much against the enemies yet. If it bleeds, doubles its bleed. And is going to be, like, by far the most used move for our Hellion, so I really feel like that's appropriate. The other one I was going to mention would be flashing daggers, but that would still be for managing an AoE in general. My corpse management's actually really good with the ability to clear all of them with a single pull from the Occultist, who often otherwise doesn't have a better action to do. Oh! But Dead of Night's also a really good way for us to generate enough stealth to actually be able to use our other abilities consistently as well, without having to then, you know, start off with, you know, lunge or shadow fade in order to set up the stealth on shadow fade or the blight resistance piercing. Okay, I'm gonna go with a damage ability and a stress ability. Feel like that's generally a pretty good split. I think I will go with the
relics remind us of a time before the end.
Tinkering of it all.
A little company for the long ride ahead.
Yep. I immediately forgot all of the suggestions that people had made. Dang! The Rhapswagon. It's like a Volkswagen, but it's not. It's nothing. It's nothing, actually, is what it is. It's absolutely nothing. Let's head into
Every
the
road a winding torment. Every turn, bent on our destruction.
Quickly checking before we go there, what would be good? I mean, being able to blind the enemy would be nice. Being able to get some stress recovery is also pretty good. I'll take 2 flasks of whiskey. Considering I intend to immediately go to the leader, I think I will actually take some stale bread. I also want to save some of my money from the relics, so I'm not going to spend a huge amount here. Don't need the resistance. And sure. John, which of those did you get? You got the 3 speed from the Blasphemous Idol, and that's it. Interesting. Guess that's fine by me. For the Whiskey Flask, let's go with 2 damage and the 2 tanky. And then set ourselves about our mission on the road. Sprawl. Yep, let's go. No relationships form the party. Appropriate, makes sense. Yeah. I feel like we should have reasonable enough damage to be able to push this guy.
Man, ruined and aflame.
There's a compulsory hospital later on. Oh, annoyingly. Wow, that's really... I can't go to the lair unless I go to the watchtower. Oh my god, that's a hospital into a hospital. Absolute madness. Clearly can't go that way. Have to go the other direction first.
There is danger on this path.
Do I want to complete my mission, or do I want to fight the... fight the Librarian? The Librarian seems to have better results than just completing the mission, I think. So I think I will end up going to a watchtower by going forward on the left-hand side. Oh, I'm so glad everyone's in agreement here. Only makes sense for the man-at-arms to be charging everyone into battle there, formations all. Does it bleeds? It bleeds. I'm gonna roll Defender on the target that will be in the second line position in the future.
Let us take a closer look at the thing, as repulsive as it is.
Sure, let's pull you out of position. Pommel gets dodged. Fiery Haze strikes our backline for blindness. Pommel also gets dodged again. Perhaps speed might be... Nope, never mind. Just gonna Shadow Fade back. It's fine. I'll have speed in the next round. Alright, moms. Just swing a blade at him. Because the person following up from you is going to be is going to be killing them, rather. Excellent. I really can't deal with the stress output of the enemy backlines, and I'm also not especially good at dealing with the enemy backlines. This might require some, proactive purchasing of laudanum, especially. Any additional ways I can sate our need. closed again for more stress to the party. I'm gonna use Dead of Night for the stress recovery here, as well as to set up a much better positioning for trying to take out both of these targets at the same time. It's also entirely possible that the Brawler gets back to their turn and then just dies.
All problems have their solutions.
That'll count.
Even the big ones.
Okay. Maybe the stress recovery tool
nightmares and blaze the trail to your redemption.
maybe the stress recovery tool that I sorted out should have been Bolster rather than Dead of Night there. Alas. Oh, ahead we have our first hero shrine. I would love to see some stuff for our Occultist, please. Unlock Amnesis, maybe?
Who will face the
You interested,
criminal
Mums?
horrors of their past? Chapter 3. Some parts must die. Terrible though it was, he would pay the price for power.
Simply only have to repress or forget all of my virtues. Oh boy. Okay, so repress steals all positive tokens. Requires the target to have more than or equal to 20% HP and deals 3 to 5 damage. The enemies have 12 total. And forget weakens and makes vulnerable. Let's forget the first virtue that is about to act. The virtue attempts to appeal to our compassion. Generates a crit token for themselves. There's ignore as well. Requires the target has a positive token. Requires the target to have more than HP. Cool. Removes all positive tokens from self and from all targets. And then finally, deny. Requires the target has a negative token, requires that their HP is high, and it'll remove all their negative tokens but only deal 1 damage. So, very token management here. I could try and steal its positive token, gain a crit. I will purge these vestigial emotions. Big ol' crit. So I am about to get crit, but I can steal that token as well as kill the enemy at the same time. Let's set up a weaken on the one that's about to not attack, I guess. Maybe? Debuff us. So I can only hit targets that have more than 20% HP, it appears. Eventually they will heal themselves, but requiring crit tokens in order to set up for everything that I want to do is probably not ideal. Unfortunately, I am leaving these targets on very useful HP to themselves. Never mind. Purge. Ah, all I had to do was get them all relatively low, and now, just like that, I can slay all my virtues.
The emptiness in him called out across boundless gulfs of unknown space. For nature abhors a vacuum.
Malediction. On target, when damaged, bleed them, or blight them, or burn them. For 3 rounds. Pretty good for, working up some hits on a
A
boss.
simple choice. At least it should be.
Yeah, I want to go to the lair more than I want to go and get Heartseeker, because what I get from the lair is more often better than Heartseeker. Just unfortunate that this is a requirement. At the very least, we are going to get 1 additional speed until the next inn, as soon as we interact with the watchtower.
In all directions, destruction has claimed dominion.
Also, going to the lair is going to get us a lot more relics and baubles for the sake of the upcoming field hospital afterwards. Worth considering, to be sure. Oh, it's a fire starter. Good to see you, buddy.
Bravo!
Alright, now bleed to death. Admittedly, pulling forward that Firemouth would prevent all actions from it now. Quick bellow at all the enemies.
Any being, however horrid, can be brought to heel.
Also manages to move one of the enemies out of line. Ugh, stress. Never mind, not out of line. They're only out of line if they're in the very, very back, apparently. Got it. Alright, let's use Dead of Night to take care of this corpse and set up for a easy flashing daggers in the next turn. In fact, I'm going to pull the crack shot to the very front if possible. I'm going to fail at it, but were it possible, I would have done it. Flashing daggers for the giant blights. Oh boy. I do love the double blight for 5, knowing that it's on its way to double blight for 7 as well. Turn my way forward and draw the attack.
The smallest variable can make all the difference.
And sure, I'll roll Defender as well, guaranteeing the direction of the enemy strike as well as its relative ineffectual nature. Vulnerability. And follow up with Howling End, why not? Oh, because I could have eaten another grave.
Easily resolved.
That's the solution, that's why not. +1 mastery for a road fight, though. Can never feel too bad about that. Another reason to go to the lair, more mastery. Jazzy and Moms share an interesting story between one another and form a better relationship off the back of it. Inside jokes are important. Light's kinda low. Unfortunately, Moms is offering to get a wheel fixed, which is the only part of the wagon that's not damaged. Jazzy will give up 12 relics for some torch. John will give up torch in order to gain food. I'm slightly concerned by that, but I do believe that I'll actually have enough torch to get all the way to the Oblivion's Rampart safely. And that's all that really matters. I would also really like to keep as many relics as possible so I can try and remove the most negative among our negative quirks. So off guard, weak grip's not important, occultomaniac's kind of not important, greedy's kind of not important.
Scavenge what you can, and be off once more.
Steak and spud, slime mold, and some apples and cheese.
I trust you have calculated your odds carefully.
Mm-hmm.
This will not be easy.
Yes, it won't be easy. Alas, I will be making it slightly easier for myself.
Procrastination of the inevitable is futility itself.
By tagging Abyssal Artillery on. John, you don't need to be able to strike up until the very back line. You just need to be able to strike up until the third, so we can use it if it bleeds consistently. Jazzy, yours is the duty of attacking the enemy backline. What with the setup is Shadow Fade and then Poison, Poison, Poison Dart, Poison Dart, Poison Dart again. Not going to be any corpses in that fight, so you're not going to be able to use Dead of Night. But Dead of Night's also going to be important in the fights beforehand. Okay. I've only just realized, I think we can do this, but if I now die for a second time in a row to the same lair boss at run start, I'm gonna have to sit down and think about things. Why is this happening? For instance, what can I do differently? Also might come to
The
mind.
library burns, and with it the remains of philosophy, reason, and insight.
Let's try and get some safety. Don't have a problem with that move, really. Poison darts can still hit
A breakthrough.
the frontline target. Alright, that's about as little of an effect as the enemies could pretty much have there, I think. All I need to do is rampart this dummy before he gets a turn.
A deliberate and methodical appliance of harm.
And that'll do it. Oof. We got fully off guarded there. Even blinded. Yikes. Gonna be difficult getting any effects out of our Grave Robber this round. Gonna elect to roll Defender on the Grave Robber, who's in otherwise quite a vulnerable position. Let's use some Sky Slapping here to remove one of the Block Plus tokens, as well as confirm that that Shaman's never going to act again. Classic situation for a Dead of Night, if you ask me. I lose my blindness and instead gain some stealth, with which I will light up the enemy targets ridiculously. Let's also set up vulnerability on the enemy frontline target while removing their dodge for free.
Steady yourself.
Oh. Do you have to, though?
The fiend's strength dwindles, Collaboration confers advantage.
And I believe, there we go, that's death on that target. One problem I've started to encounter is that if I have a better opportunity on the first turn than stealthing to move backwards, I lock out a lot of utility from my Occultist as well as from my Hellion. So realistically, it would be lovely to remove off guard, and that's something I intend to do relatively soon, quite quickly, and very happily. Not having the extra speed on the Hellion as well, so when we don't have the +3 speed from the sake of the Blasphemous Idol, will also be pretty helpful. Maybe a speed bonus on Jazzy as well. I hope I can get away without that, though. All of this is predicated upon whether or not we manage to survive this next fight, mind. Okay, Unabridged Edition. 100% location and route scouting. There's also the Greater Heat Shield, 66% burn resistance. Parrying Patriarch at turn end, convert dodge into dodge plus. Interesting. And the Smoldering Hymnal, yes. At turn start, if you are first in the turn order, gain a strength token. Gain on killing blow and extra action 20% of the time. And if you are burning, +6 speed. Let's do it.
The conflagration must be stopped. The Librarian must be destroyed.
Hopefully a minimum of these turns will end up being wasted, but certainly some of them. Is that page burner number 1?
Cooperation is the key.
Let's stand fast. Start gaining some block tokens. Hey! Why, my face is not supposed to be able to... Oh no. How dare you? Anyway. Let's just get Shadow Fade backwards. Oh, I'd love to use Howling End. Oh boy, what a great time that would be. Anyway. Welcome to a hittable position. I'm gonna give vulnerability and remove the enemy's dodge because I know how lucky I am with hits. I don't want to rampart the book behind you, because then you'll just be in the frontline position and using bellow blasts as soon as possible, which is not good. I will, however, bellow at you. See if I can slow you down a bit. Annoyingly, I still do need the Man-at-Arms to move forward. Maybe I should have just moved on that previous turn.
The Fiend's strength dwindles.
Getting my only real damage on the target out of Blight.
In crisis, we can rely only upon each other.
It's burning through the books a lot faster than I thought he would. Smokestack gets dodged. At least I'm managing to reasonably dodge some of his abilities. There's that reading he shows us as fundamental. That's exactly what we didn't want to see.
The enemy weakens and wanes.
I think I'm just gonna have to continue putting out whatever damage I have access to right now. And I'm gonna start trying to do some de-stressing, because it's gotta start sometime. More and more I'm feeling like maybe I do not have the damage I had hoped that I had had.
A slow dissection. An unavoidable end.
Ooh, we got resisted. That's not good. This artillery is certainly helping out with as much damage as it can get access to. How brightly we burn. Ultimately, if we do lose this, it will be exceptionally close. That will, however, be poor comfort. There we go. Enemies on death door! Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da! You burn the page! And now it's my time to burn the you. So look, was it the cleanest fight of all time? No. Am I proud of it? No.
A spark.
Did I have a third question in mind? Yes, and it was that one. +1 mastery, +15 flame. I pick up all the trinkets I wanted. Can hardly be sad about that. I mean, I should probably... Yeah, Smoldering Hymnal go there. Where am I getting this double dodge token from? Jazzy, it's actually from your on guard. I'm not dropping the Galvanizing Gauntlet nor the Smoldering Hymnal off you, so someone else is just gonna have to figure out how to use that. I guess, Mom, sometimes you get dodge plus tokens from Ritualists, so it doesn't matter to you at all. So there's that. Let's give the stimulants to John, the anti-venom to Moms, and Eloise. You may hold the bandages for the period of time. Excellent. Is there anything I need to change back about our tagged abilities? I don't believe... Yes. I want to get Demon's Pull back, thank you. Wait, Moms, you can't use Binding Shadows. Yeah, you can't use Binding Shadows from the back position. If you could, maybe I would have had a little bit more structuring to do.
Is spent. We are exposed. Joints ache and muscles burn. The body requires attention.
Three laudanum doesn't seem like a bad idea here.
Even the worst habits can be overcome.
Let's also get some healing salves just for safety.
Tinctures and remedies. The science of hope.
So, Jazzy, you may be our laudanum holder. We'll start to award that out to the party at appropriate times.
Oblivion's rampart.
How much torch do we even have at this point? 19. Okay, so it's affecting us. It's starting to blind us. I can pull the Herald to the
What can
front.
we learn upon closer inspection?
And force it to use one of its out of position abilities, as well as force one of the evangelists to use an out of position ability. Love that. Set up regen. I mean,
A small
I'm gonna bolster every available turn that it does stress heal here. Let's Shadow Fade in order to gain the stealth I require.
A master stroke.
Ooh. Okay. A little bit more stress recovery there. Love to see it. How many crits can I get? Or prevent the enemies from doing as well, because that's important too. Crit number 2. But no stress healing from that one. The flashing daggers are not the important part, it's the blight damage they do. Okay, so the Evangelist is already going down on the ground. I'm gonna try and pull the altar out of position as well. We should start hitting it at some point. Death's Door, you managed to rush Judgment for 1 total damage. It's the last thing you ever get to do as well. Time for another Bellow next turn, we can see already. Unfortunately, I am blinded right now. I'm very much hoping that this connects, though. Don't tell me if it did, I can't see it, I am blinded. I mean, I could sack Stab to get some strength that I'm not gonna use. Goddamn Herald in the back line there with the regen. It's perfectly safe still. Comfy, actually. There you go. Let's guarantee the end of that Herald at some point. All we need to do is first kill someone else. I'm gonna go for the blight cure. Sorry, the bleed cure there. I wanted to take the Herald out as quickly as possible. It's just, you know, when it regens 30 health, it makes it a bit difficult. Minimum damage on that Wicked Hack would have still guaranteed the kill. Demon's Pull has rectified party positioning and basically as much as it could have been. I'll absolutely bellow at him. Woof. Oh, I thought that might have actually been enough to get the full stress. It was not. Yay. 1 HP remaining on the Herald after that action. Rude. Gave Herald that kill because I thought it was possible, that it might have done some work.
Lenity, grace, small acts that drive back the darkness.
I'm actually gonna roll Defender behind myself as well. Positive relationship charge. I mean, hey, if we only end up getting a, sick amount of positive relationship charges out of this, I will still count that as worthwhile. Huge crit there.
Empowered, emboldened. For who knows what lurks in the beyond.
You know, the positive relationship triggers over the course of this sincerely might be worth the huge stress we are going to be ending this act with.
An inkling of potency still lingers in some of these well-worn relics.
And 20% extra damage on range skills, not really what we intend to do. We're all about that blight damage, actually. Oh, now we're starting to have some negative interactions on the wagon, courtesy of all of the stress everyone has. But a songbook of touching dirges looks like it might be able to help us with that relationship in the party. I mean, you know, everyone will be pretty stressed out, but...
Rest now for a time.
John? John, who are you? Are you the Hellion, John? You are. That sucks. Head in the sand. When damaged, 15% chance to become blinded. Darkly curious. Thin-blooded we also picked up there. Rude. Also 100% to academics, studies, location scouting for the next area. We also got some negative stress there.
Spend what you can, for wealth no longer has meaning. If indeed it ever did.
The Greater Wolf's Blood Indelible Trinket for +6 speed would be totally appropriate. If it weren't for the fact that Smoldering Hymnal probably needs to go on the same person. Well, actually, Smoldering Hymnal... What if that was on the Hellion? Because the Hellion's more likely to gain a killing blow. So then that would be something like purchasing Greater Wolf's Blood to give to the Hellion so that the Hellion has 10 speed. That also gives me the ability to pass off the Greater Heat Shield to the Ritualist, who occasionally gains charges of unchecked power that try and burn Marms. -3 from the hero path, which is why you're so slow. That makes sense. In the Tangle, we get 15% extra damage.
Consider your position and plan accordingly.
And there's a Tangle upcoming. In addition to that, 200% academic studies. I do like the idea of going for the Tangle. We do have, with Moms, the ability to hit the backline every turn with the Abyssal Artillery. Every other turn, we can get Eloise to do it with the Bellow, which means that I'm only required to have some items that I can throw at that final boss, like the Crow's Feet would work particularly well. The Sleeping General, that is, not the final boss, sorry. In order to appropriately deal with them. Wild Tea, remove the negative quirk. I mean, we did just get a negative quirk that was pretty bad. Hit in the sand. Okay. I think I like the Wolf's Blood, removal of negative quirk.
In such a little thing.
Please don't remove the positive. No! The plus 20%! 25% chance to do that anyway. Yeah, you basically can't be stunned. Unabridged edition.
Your coach must be maintained if it is to carry you where you must go. The roads are rife with peril. A little protection is always welcome.
I can literally get 1 Crow's Feet before leaving. That's legitimately huge. You know what? You know what? This is the tech.
Can be taught. that you may stand just a little taller at the end.
Let's upgrade Bolster. Let's actually get some good stuff out of it. Shadow Fade for the extra speed in the next round, then gives Flashing Daggers a lot more utility. Removal of crit token with weakening curse is not half bad either. Weird reconstruction seems appropriate in the worlds where I don't really have... I mean, I do have ways to heal other characters, but I don't have ways to heal my tanks, especially. All of this, of course, built around the default assumption that I'm going to be taking Flashing Daggers and I am going to be taking Shadow Fade. Let's take Weird Reconstruction just in case. I'd like to be safe rather than sorry. If the choice is between the two, I know which I'd choose. Get everyone to eat a wee bit of food. Is there that much blight in this area? I don't believe there really is. I think I'm going to want to use the Impermeable Poultice to protect against the Exemplar's blight later on. Select our route to be the Tangle.
Mud and rain, resignation and death. This land is truly barren.
And let's head out. Yeah. Oh, I didn't even buy the crow feet. Oops. Oh, no.
Each covets what the other has, and plots to take it.
Deeply annoyingly, both of these are moves we need to use consistently.
Resentment, the slowest and deadliest poison of them all.
Sacrificial Stab, I think that was tagged on. Bleed Out was not. Oh, I did not actually mean to embark. That is for the start of the next episode. Alas. That means I should probably take us to the end screen.
Rewards only. Resignation.
Before I see too much of this screen. Although I will say there looks like a spicy path ahead of us. For the moment, my name's Rhapsody, the name of the game has been Darkest Dungeon 2. Top left is my series playlist for all the content on this game, past, present, future. YouTube recommendation down below, string past the names of the people so generously supporting and republic patreon.com/Rhapsody Plays. Matter about the thank you and a special thanks this episode to Dyla. Hopefully you'll be enjoying yourselves and hopefully we see you all next time.